Beaches have always terrified me. Well, not always. My fear is a direct result of what I'm about to tell you. As a kid, I used to love the shore. I remember spending many summers in eager anticipation of the weekend when my family and I would hang out at our beach house, or if I was lucky, they'd let me spend it at my friend Charles's beach house, which was even more fun. I was 16, and this was one of those special summer weekends. Me, Charles, and our third friend Riley were going to spend a few unsupervised days at Charles's beach house in LBI. Riley was a year older than us and had recently gotten his license, so he'd be driving us down in his car. The drive down was fantastic. Riley was a pretty uncoordinated driver at the time, so most of the ride was spent laughing at him, swerving and cursing the road. It was great. We got down to LBI in good time and immediately moved all of our stuff from the car to the rooms we'd be staying in. The layout of the house is important to the story. There's a front door, a garage door that connects the back to the front yard, a back sliding door, and a back upstairs deck that connects the upstairs bedrooms. There's also a spiral staircase that allows you to go directly from the back deck to the ground, so you can enter and exit the house from upstairs. The house sits along a lagoon, meaning the back end of the house faces a narrow channel of water with houses on the opposite side. We were at that ripe age where chasing girls was a priority, and a nice beach house all to ourselves was the perfect occasion. We spent a few hours figuring out which girls were down the shore at the time and talked to them on Snapchat. Finally, we found a group of 3 cute girls, Rosie, Alexa, and Sophie, who said they'd be down to come kick back at Charles's house. I had more than enough weed to last us the weekend, and we had snagged a few bottles of our parents' alcohol before leaving. It was perfect. The 3 girls were fun and flirty, and the 3 of us could tell where the night would probably end up. At one point, the 6 of us decided to smoke in Charles's backyard pool. It was small, but perfect for 6 drunk kids. I remember the sight vividly. The gentle bay breeze blowing through my hair. The steam from the heated water rising slowly with the puffs of smoke from the joints. At our age, this was bliss. Then suddenly, Charles turned the music all the way down and stared over my shoulder into the darkness of the lagoon. Confused, I turned around, peering into the darkness. I could roughly make out the houses on the other side of the lagoon, but I wasn't quite sure what Charles was looking at. One of the girls asked why he turned the music down, and he whispered that he saw someone standing on the dock opposite the house. I figured he was messing with us, so I started laughing. "Who cares, bro? People literally live here," I said. Charles shook his head. "I know that family personally. My parents said they're in Florida for the week. I still thought it wasn't a big deal, but the girls were a little freaked out and said they wanted to go back inside. I wasn't going to argue, so we all started making our way out of the pool. As we were drying off, Riley jumped and cursed, looking toward the lagoon. The rest of us turned, and even though the light was dim, I could definitely see what looked like movement coming from the opposite dock. The 6 of us froze in place, trying to get a better glimpse. Then a passing car lit up the scene slightly, and the sight was horrifying. There were 4 tall silhouettes standing at the edge of the dock facing us. It was impossible to tell what they looked like, but there was no doubt they were facing our direction. "Go inside now," Charles said with a shaky voice, motioning us toward the sliding door. As we rushed inside, I heard a distinct sound that remains the most terrifying noise I've ever heard. 4 consecutive splashes rang out behind us. those guys were swimming across the lagoon. We were in full-on panic mode. The girls screamed while Riley slammed the sliding door shut and locked it. Charles ran to lock the front door too, and the six of us hid in the room that wasn't visible from outside. We waited in silence, horrified at what we might hear next. A few minutes passed. Still nothing. Out of nowhere, Riley cursed, revealing he had forgotten to lock the sliding door on the upstairs deck. Just then, we heard soft, quieted footsteps above us. That was the last straw. None of us had any weapons, and we were all intoxicated, so running was our only option. We sprinted for the front door and bolted to the car. Riley started it in a flash. In the chaos, he destroyed Charles's mailbox on the way out of the driveway. Once we were far enough away, we called the police. The ordeal was a nightmare. When we returned with police, all the valuables on the top floor were missing. But that wasn't the worst part. Charles's family owned a medium-sized Boston whaler boat, which was also stolen, most likely as the getaway vehicle. Charles's father tended to keep a spare set of keys inside a small hatch below the steering wheel. The police concluded that's how the culprits got away so quickly. How they knew where the key was hidden is something I still wonder. The police never caught them. We always believed whoever robbed the house must have known Charles's family, and that the house would be vacant that weekend. It's been a long time since this happened, but I still lock every door and window in my house every night. Do yourself a favor. Lock your doors. Update. I never thought I'd be revisiting this again, but I actually do have an update. This update isn't exactly my story, but I'll do my best to tell it. When I was 16, I spent that weekend at Charles's beach house with Riley. We were chilling in the pool with some girls when people appeared across the lagoon, watching us. They swam across, broke in, and robbed the place. They escaped in Charles's family boat. The authorities never found the boat or caught the thieves. Years later, I ran into Charles at a high school reunion. We caught up, and later that night over drinks, he told me something wild. His little brother, Kieran, is 19 now, and about a year ago, he and his friends decided to take the family's new boat out without permission. It was their replacement boat after the insurance payout. They brought beer, anchored near Carl Island, part of a wildlife refuge where you're not supposed to be at night, and decided to swim to shore to hang out. While there, one of Kieran's friends noticed another boat anchored further down the beach. Kieran took a closer look and became convinced it looked exactly like their family's old stolen Boston whaler. He convinced his friends to swim out to it. When they reached it, he was 100% sure it was the same boat. He wanted to take pictures but hadn't brought his phone. They thought about calling the police, but they were underage, had been drinking, and weren't supposed to be there. So they didn't. They decided to swim back to their boat and return later for photos. As they were walking back along the beach, one of them noticed a man walking toward them, fast. According to Kieran, the man was holding a shovel. The boys ran, and the man started running after them. They sprinted to their boat. Kieran looked back one last time and saw the man turn and run back toward his own boat, which was closer to shore. They got on their boat and left, but they had to move slowly since there are nighttime boating laws in New Jersey about speed and lights. The whole ride back was tense. Kieran thought he heard another boat following them in the dark. When they got home, his friends begged him to call the police, but he refused, too scared of getting in trouble. The guilt ate him up, and he confessed to his parents the next day, leaving out the drinking part. His parents were furious and banned him from using the house for the rest of the summer. They did report what happened, but nothing came of it, just like before. Charles said the police never found anything. When I asked how the old stolen boat could still be there after all these years, Charles guessed it was probably repainted or modified so nobody recognized it. As for the man with the shovel, Charles had no idea. Maybe he was burying something, maybe digging something up. Either way, it spooked Kieran and his friends enough that they confessed everything. That's where the story ends. No closure, just more unanswered questions.